We about to focus. Praying, fasting, worship. Let's get into the video. I'm sorry, y'all. What's up, G Squad? Welcome back to I Know Who I Am, where we dive into faith, identity, and purpose. If you are new to the G Squad family, feel free to subscribe, like, comment down below. I honestly love to hear from you guys. So anyway, I wanted to just quickly talk to you guys about an analogy that the Lord gave me some time ago, but I recently came across another video that reminded me of that analogy, and I thought it would be appropriate if I was able to merge the two together to be able to bring this word to you guys, basically, especially since we're in a time of the quarantine where people have ample time on their hands, and some people's schedules actually haven't changed as much, but there is definitely still the need for us to remain stable within our minds, within our bodies, and within our spirituality, because those are the things that can easily be attacked when we have too much time on our hands, when we have too many things that can be a distraction to us. There are so many things that are trying to grab our focus from us, so I thought it was really important that I share this with you guys. So anyway, I remember I was driving, and I don't speed anymore. Okay.
You know what? I feel like that's incriminating.
I never.
Oh, but then that's lying. Okay.
I don't speed. How about that? I don't speed currently. Okay. I don't. I recently got a ticket that was like $300, and I learned my lesson quick. Okay, so that's not the point. Anyway, I was in my car driving some time ago, and I remember there was a car beside me. Every time that the light would turn green, he was like in and out of lanes, getting in front of me, getting in front of the next person. And I kind of chuckled because like I knew what that life was. That used to be me, always rushing to get somewhere. Even if I wasn't rushing, I just always drove with a sense of urgency. I just didn't understand people who did the opposite.
Like, what's happening here? What are you doing on the road?
Anyway, so I chuckle because as I'm watching this person, I realize how crazy they look, because literally no matter how far ahead they drove up, speeding out to as soon as the light turned green, I found myself like as I'm going the speed limit, we would catch each other at the same red light. Like, you're not getting anywhere further than I am. And I realized when I was in that position, I'm pretty sure there were people in their cars thinking the same exact thing about me. Like, why does she keep jumping in and out of lanes, trying to rush to get somewhere? Honestly, you're going to get to the same exact place if you stayed on pace and you stayed on track. So immediately as I was thinking that, I gave me a light bulb moment in that time. And he basically said, this is exactly how my children look when I give them an assignment, a destination basically, and they are in and out of lanes, either trying to compete with the driver that's next to them or trying to rush to get ahead, and you keep coming into different roadblocks and you're trying to get around it instead of going through the lessons I want you to go through to build your character, to teach you the things that you need, to give you the experience that's necessary for where I'm taking you, for the destination that you're trying to arrive to. You're trying to avoid all of that. You're trying to avoid the traffic. You're trying to avoid the slowdown. You're trying to avoid the big picture, and you're getting stuck in the same exact, no matter what you do, no matter how far you try and get ahead, I'm still in control. You don't achieve anything by jumping ahead, by trying to speed, by attempting to take the back roads and the shortcuts, because God is always in control regardless. But the problem is when you're that person who's trying to get ahead and rushing, just like me when I was in that position. You are sort of in a delusion where you think you're getting somewhere, and you miss out on so much around you. I didn't realize when I started going to speed limit, I started noticing things like on the sides, on the streets, that I didn't even know were there before. Like, I like, oh, like, when did they build this building? And oh, that's a new Starbucks. And oh, like, you really start to miss out on the things that are around you. And God was showing me how we have to secure our minds. Like, we have to get our focus back. If we just focus on Him, we will get to our destinations not only safely, but at the time that we were supposed to. And most importantly, more aligned. God will still be in control. When we start speeding and getting out of our lane and losing our focus, that's when accidents happen. That's when you wind up getting lost and you miss your turn when your GPS trying to tell you go left and you messed around and went right or kept going straight because you're not focused, you're not paying attention. Focus is really important. A lot of us, especially throughout this quarantine, have lost our focus. And we're in a place where we're trying to ask God, God, help me to regain my focus. God, help me to be more productive. And God, help me this. God, help me that concerning us being aligned to the calling. But something I had to realize is that the concept of focus is a free will choice. We can't ask God to give us focus. We can't ask God to put us into focus. Even though it sounds genuine. It sounds like we're trying to put God back in charge, but honestly, focus to God is like a sign of our faith. We can't ask God for that. It's basically like asking Him to alter our free will. Our focus is something that comes from inside of us, something that we feed because we have a desire to fulfill something, because it's a priority to us. Our focus is fueled by whether something is important or whether it is not as important to us. Because guess what? Nobody has to convince me to focus if they telling me that they have $1 million lined up for me at 4 in the morning on the beach docks at this location. I'm gonna be very focused. I'm gonna be there at 3 o'clock actually, just making sure that you're there. Nobody has to get me focused about that. But when it's in a sense of us building our spiritual character and just in different aspects, it's like we're always asking God for focus. But He's like, no, you get focused. You take initiative. You show me that you can be aligned with me and what I'm saying. I already gave you the word. I already gave you the destination. Why do I now have to get you into, like, why do I have to beat you into shape? That's what we're really asking God to do. Like, some of our some of our prayers are kind of like asking God to like break me, beat me, like God, get me into submission. And God is like, I get what you're saying. I understand your heart is trying to get in a place of obedience and alignment, but the way to do that is not begging God to do the hard work for you. Like, God, give me the focus on this homework or study, and God, just drop the you need to open your book and you need to study. Your faith without works is dead. Like, God is not going to slap the book across your head and make all of the material drop in your brain. Like, we can't, like, we have to get out of that. Some of us don't even realize, just like that driver who's in and out of traffic, who like I said before, they're in a state of delusion. Some of them don't even realize that they're unfocused and they're going to and fro thinking that they're doing something godly or something that is of God by trying to rush to get to this destination, not realizing that the only thing that runs to and fro is the enemy. Okay, the Bible says that the enemy goes prowling around to and fro, okay, looking to whom he shall devour. Who he gonna devour? The person who's speeding, not staying in their lane, not going the speed limit, not going the direction that God told them to go. That's the person who's gonna get pulled over. That's the person who's gonna get in an accident. That's the person who's gonna get inconvenienced because their mind is not sound. Their mind is all over the place. And when I say the enemy, I don't even mean the enemy, the guy with the two horns and the pitchfork and whatnot. Sometimes our enemy is our own selves. Nobody is forcing us to speed and to jump ahead but ourselves and our own selfish agendas and selfish ambitions. And all of that turns into chaos. But let me tell you something, God, the God that I serve, is not a God of chaos. He is a God of order. He's a sovereign God. He is a God that of peace, who's going to give you peace in what it is that you're doing and where it is that you're going. But He can't do that if you're not feeding your focus faith. You see how it's like a interchange? It's like a level of intimacy, of exchange. You have to feed your focus faith. And it's not to say that it's about all of the yeses and amens over your life. It's not even about you. Sometimes it's Faith that God is going to use you to be a blessing to somebody else. Faith that God is going to use you to be an instrument or a tool in the kingdom of God. Whatever it is that God is giving you, whatever destination it is, we have to have faith that it's going to get done. And through that faith, when we have divine faith in that, that's where our focus comes into place, because a true person who understands that, a true person who can grasp that concept, they're not rushing nowhere. They're taking their time in the Lord, and they have a sound mind because they are focused. We shall know them by their fruits. People should know us by our fruits. And if we're always hasty, we have hasty faith, we have hasty actions, we're doing things with distastings that are not resembling the Holy Spirit nature and the fruits of the Spirit, then how are people supposed to identify us as seeds of Christ? We need to be planted like a tree. A tree is very focused. A tree can't be uprooted and put back in the ground, uprooted and put back in the ground, and then one day it's grown over here, and then the next day it wants to be growing over here. No, a tree is very focused. It takes years for its roots to establish and to finally grow up. And you know what I mean? How a tree is all put together and whatnot, and how that takes time, but the process is very still. It's very focused. It's not moving and going and rushing, but that's how the Lord wants us to be. He wants us to be planted like a tree, stable, consistent, and trusting. A lot of us don't have this focus because either we're suffering from low self-esteem, or we have a lack of trust where we feel like God is not going to do it, or our methods are going to get it done faster. So in a sense, saying that I can do it better, the point is it's time for us to start submitting our own methods, our own agendas, and our own ways, and start telling God and showing God that we are ready to be submitted, that we're ready to put the work in and being stilled and planted and being able to go along with his pace and his timing. Listen, if you lose focus and you give up now, nobody's going to do it for you. Nobody is going to be as perfect with a job as you would have been, because God called you for a specific reason. And if we abandon that, it's not to say that it won't get done. God can call someone else, but the fact is that he called you because he knew that he had a purpose, or he had something that he wanted you specifically to fulfill. So we have to come out of ourselves and remember that God is the number one who is in control, and not our flesh. No one else is going to do the work for you. But I tell you something, somebody else will do the work for themselves to make sure that they're being obedient and taking their time the way that you should have been doing. Okay? So listen, if you don't get anything out of that, just point blank period, stay in your lane. Stay focused, stay grounded, stay faithful, y'all. Listen, don't forget to know who you are, because I know, and you should know, and you should know, and you should know who I am.